Ladies and gentlemen, the young man you are seeing here is no other person than the brand new Kji of Nnibo town. Nnibo is situated in Anambra State. Anambra State is in Nigeria, West Africa. We're going to give engineer Dr. Akuvue a run of profile. He's going to explain to us who he is, his challenges in life, and how he has come to this point. Also, along the line, we would like to know the plans he has for Nnibo. Sir, good day, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, we understand that you just attended just concluded New Orleans Nnibo USA convention.
That's right.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome once more to God's own country.
I appreciate it.
Okay. So we would like to know you. Perhaps tomorrow you might be running for Senate also, because we start from something. As the new PG of Nnibo, we look forward to a time you go beyond that. That is what life is all about.
Okay.
So can we take a memory trip into your memory lane in terms of who you are, where you come from, your schools, and what life has been for you before now?
Okay, thank you very much. I must say it's my pleasure to be here. And like you said, being in God's own country is usually something of an honor and privilege. What do I say about myself? My name is Engineer Innocent Akuvue. I choose to use just two for my personality for Nnibo. I could go on to give my prefaces, but suffice it to say that I'm contented to say I'm just an engineer, Innocent Akuvue. I am from Nnibo, which again makes it possible for me to be Nnibo PG. I'm from a village called Umoima, in a clan called Urana, and in a quarter called Umano. Nnibo is in Okasat local government area of Anambra State, and Anambra State, like you know, is in the eastern part of Nigeria. And Nigeria, you know, is in West Africa, and West Africa, you know, is in the African continent. So it's on and on and on. I'm in my 50s, so it means I'm half a century old, more than half a century old, born to the late Bernard and Victoria Akuvue in Umoima. My primary education was a combination of St. Teresa's Primary School, which is now called Ezike Primary School in Nnibo, and then St. Mary's Catholic Primary School in Otukpo, Benue State. After that, I entered St. Francis College, also in Otukpo in Benue State, where I completed my school certificate examinations, and like they say those days, they say coming out in Division 1. I had a spell as a teacher for just 1 year. Those days, if you done well in your YF, you are privileged to teach in the auxiliary teaching category. So I did that at St. Peter's College at China. From there, I gained admission to chemical engineering in the University of Benin, and simultaneously at the Anambra State University of Technology in Enugu. I had actually gone to University of Benin, and when the ASUTEP results came out and I was admitted, for some reasons I chose to leave Benin and come to Enugu. So I graduated in Anambra State University of Technology with a Bachelor of Engineering honors in Chemical Engineering. And after that, I did a 1-year compulsory NYSC scheme in Nigeria. I had mine in the town called Ede. Then it was in Oyo State, but presently it's in the present Osun State. I was more of a teacher in the program, which again I quite cherished. After that, in 1987, I finished my NYSC in December 1987. Took 1 year leave like it was always done, and then came to Port Harcourt in 1988. And by 16th of February 1988, I had my first experience as an employee. I was employed by a company called Greenway Industries Limited as a civil engineer, where I was part of the building team that built up the Greenway Industries. The Greenway Industries was basically to take bulk ammonia from naphthalene then and process it for that ammonium hydroxide and hydrous ammonia. I must confidently say that I was the first Nigerian engineer to be so involved in the downstream processing of ammonia. I had the privilege to work with an American, Bob Kerrigan, God bless his soul because he's late now. He imparted so much practical knowledge and experience on me that I was able to run that plant when he left. So from Greenway Industries Limited, I was again seconded to a sister company in the Bell Hope Holding Group, as it was called, as a project engineer for Fellows Chemical Industry Limited. It was in Fellows I stayed on until I became the project manager and sales manager combined. After that, I now joined the family company called the Ksji International Nigeria Limited, which my wife and I founded earlier in our marriage. And I joined that company effectively in 1996. And from then, it's been
Flourishing.
Yes. Flourishing. From Ksji International, we have subsidiaries like Sibeta Resources Limited. We had one company that we deliberately gave a particular name, Teardrops Limited. Teardrops was chosen because we found that things never came easy our way. So at a point we concluded that if we don't work hard to the point where tears had to drip down, things don't get to work. So, but after that, we dropped off that company when it was like, okay, you've served your purpose, so you can now go. We also have Romills Industry Limited. Romills is targeted to manufacturing. We are hoping that someday when power situation in Nigeria improves, we'll go into manufacturing. And later, we also incorporated another company called Chemprogeti Limited. Chemprogeti is also hoped to go into a special aspect of oil and gas. So today we have a holding company that takes care of these subsidiaries. That holding company is called GGI Group Limited. So GGI Group Limited effectively does not work. What it does is managing the affairs of the subsidiary companies.
As a follow-up to that, how many companies are being held by the GGI?
Effectively 4 companies now.
4 companies.
Yeah.
Maybe next time you're going to give us adverts. We'll be expecting adverts from 4 companies.
That would be wonderful. That would be okay. It's not that it's better you advertise a company that is effectively working than advertising one that is almost like moribund. So if you look at the advert I placed in the Nnibo USA, it is GGI International, and then Bolzano, which is a brand of GGI. Bolzano is a GGI brand, so it's not like a new company altogether. But even though it has its own website and everything, it's still an integral part of GGI. So, but like you said, okay, probably doing that might make us to dust up the documents of these companies and get them to work. But these companies are actually kept for favorable conditions in the industry in Nigeria. Once the conditions are okay, these companies will take off. They will effectively take off.
Presently, having all these companies, how do you look at Nigerian economy? How is it progressing? Do you think we are getting somewhere?
Yeah, Nigerian economy is doing very well. Like people say, Nigeria today is one of the destination ends for investors, because as difficult as the situation may be projected outside, the situation in Nigeria is not as bad as it is being projected. And knowing that business is all about risk, there is nowhere in the world there is no risk. Okay, we know we don't have the best of place conditions, but even at that, the profit margin in Nigeria makes it more attractive, even among the condition in Nigeria is not the worst. Okay, people are still doing business in Iraq, as difficult as it is. People are still doing business in Pakistan. In fact, it will surprise you to know that most of the assets we use in Nigeria come from Pakistan, with all the instabilities that appear to be in that country. So businesses have to thrive no matter how the situation is. And Nigeria, typically people will say Nigeria is unstable, but then investors never let us be. People are chasing after you. They invest your country. Again, like I said, because of the profit margin. Nigeria profit margin is quite attractive.
From your point of view, what's the greatest risk for somebody who is thinking of coming to Nigerian economy?
Yeah, the greatest challenge you have, which challenge could be risk, for me is power. We don't have power now. So if you're coming to invest in Nigeria, by the time you aggregate these factors, power, poor road infrastructure, some level of political instability, they might appear as a challenge. But if you look at it on the other way, what is the final index for you in business? It's profit. If you think you can overcome all this and see no profits, why not? People have been there, people are still coming in. So what will appear like the biggest risk in Nigeria is what you call right now is the social instability. You have the terrorism in the north, you have the militancy in the south, even though it is seen as highly reduced, but there are still some elements of it in one place or the other. But again, with all that, it doesn't stop business from going on.
Okay. I know that you were once a victim of one of the business challenges. You were kidnapped.
That's correct, yeah.
What was the experience like?
It's one experience I wouldn't want anybody to share. There are some experiences you want people to share. Even though mine was just 3 days and 3 nights, it's not an experience I want to share. Even talking about it traumatizes me. So as much as possible, I don't even want to talk about it. That's why when people talk about kidnapping, I don't want to add my voice to it because it quickly takes me back, what I'm trying to go out from. And you wouldn't also believe that I have never had a high blood pressure issue before, despite the stress in my business, but the kidnapping induced high blood pressure. So today I live managing that, even though it is not quite there, but I know it's already there. And like I was told by my medical consultant in Houston, he said once you have a BP issue, treat it until you die. So for me, that's one of the things that the lingering trauma of my kidnap, the fact that I now have an induced high blood pressure. But like I said, it's managed and it doesn't disturb what I do. But it's an experience I wouldn't want anybody to share. And that also informs why I'm taking security issue in our town very seriously.
Good. Much as you don't want to share about it, is there any way you can tell us how you managed to escape?
Yeah, okay. That's the aspect that again makes me want to talk about it because it shows there is God. I think again because one of the voices that talked to me during my kidnap, I believe that was God's voice, was the one that said I could have stopped it from happening, but I allowed it to happen for a purpose. And that purpose is what I'm knowing now. That purpose is for me to further let people know that God exists. If you think there is no God, you must be the biggest joker in your life. Because otherwise, there is no way I can explain how a man who is chained up, not just chained up hands and legs, could walk out of that kind of situation without being caught. Nothing happened to me after that. And how I leaped over a fence that ordinarily I cannot leap over with chains on my leg. It does mean there is God. And somebody came to preach to me after I came out from kidnap. I told the person, I am the preacher man now, not you, because you don't have anything to tell me. I'll tell you everything that will make you know there is God. You are speculating, I'm not speculating because I've been there.
Okay, it's not. It's a testimony for you.
It's a full testimony,
and we give God the glory.
Indeed.
And this is not the first time we know of such story in the Bible.
That's right.
Where Peter and Paul and Silas,
yeah,
they found it, and Peter, all of them experienced that. There's always a cross to bear.
That's correct. Yeah.
And we pray that that cross you bore will kind of transport you into drawing very, very near to God.
It has.
Speaking of security, We thank God that a man of integrity like you has assumed the PG-ship of Nnibo.
Okay.
What is your plan for security in addition to the ongoing plan the last PG did?
Okay. Security was prime during my campaign, and security is one thing I'm taking very serious. Like I said, I'm taking it from the point of view of a man who was a victim of lapses in security. Okay, so I'm taking that, and I do know one thing, that one of the ways to improve security is to motivate those who are on the outfit. Like our vigilante at Nnibo. We need to motivate them. And what have I done as a person? What I've done as a person is to personally talk to them and let them know that we share in what they are doing. I have personally provided them kits, vests to wear. Like I gave them 3 sets of kits to wear. I gave them a telephone line so that they, what we call free toll telephone lines. And recently I invested a lot to do that. Gave them bulletproof vests. I have done 10. The second phase will be another 10. To make sure that all of them at the same time are so protected. But what I told them to do was, if they have any special assignment, those that are going for that assignment should be fully protected. And the type of vest I did for them is like an assured one. It's a very solid vest. In fact, if you're very weak, you can't even wear it. So I saw that boost their morale. The next step, which I think I want to pursue, and this time around I'm going to involve all of us, is insurance for them. Let them know.
Before you continue, when you said you are going to involve all of us, does that mean that the vest and protective wears you already provided for them, and a new telephone line system was personal?
Yeah.
I'm not from Nnibo's.
No. They are all personal. In fact, I put close to 1 million naira on just the Nnibo vigilante.
Can I call you Akuvue once more?
Which is what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
So going further, we are trying to describe the next phase.
Okay.
And which is?
The next phase now is the insurance. You understand? Is the insurance, and also providing stipends, because they don't actually earn salary. They depend on charities. Today there could be money, tomorrow there could not be. And again, I wouldn't want them to begin to pray for incidents, because they make money when there are burials. I wouldn't want them to go home and say, God, let there be burial for us to make money today. Let there be a source of earning salary. Let people take up this responsibility. Let people appreciate what they are doing by making contributions towards an account. I intend to dedicate an account to our vigilante. We have people from all over the world who would be making donations at their convenient time. You understand? So that these young men who, out of volition, because this is a voluntary thing, out of their own volition, says, okay, I'm going to put my life on arm's way to protect my people. So we expect our people to also appreciate what they are doing by saying, okay, because you're putting your life in arm's way, I'm going to invest some amount of money to make sure that if for any reason anything happens to you, let your family not suffer. So if the man is going to work, he says, okay, the worst that can happen to me is me. My family will not suffer because there is an insurance to take care of them. So I'm going to pursue that insurance with all my energy and vigor. And like I said, I'm going to involve all of us this time. When I go home and articulate the benefits of this convention, because
as the interview continues, before us is the President General of Nnibo and the owner of a holding company that has up to 4 companies inside it, which is called the
GI Group Limited.
GGI Group Limited. So, Doc, you are welcome back to the interview.
Thank you once again. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. We were speaking on the different phases of security assurance you want to give Nnibo Vigilante.
That's correct.
You was trying to describe the second phase.
Okay. I said the second phase will involve providing life assurance or insurance for the active members of the vigilante group, and the idea is to further motivate them and give them the confidence in the course of their work. This is quite a risk they are taking on our behalf, and we should be seen as a people to also appreciate that risk they are taking on our behalf by investing in them. I did say in the first half of the interview that so far all the investments on vigilante were on my personal capacity, but this time around I do think the entire membership of Nnibo Union and we all should come on board and join us to further achieve this, providing a stipend for them, giving them life assurances, and I think we'll see a different vigilante group when that is done.
So, how do you really plan to involve the entire Nnibo? I know that the last PG was a beggar all over his regime. What is your approach to this?
Yeah, I did say one time, I think that was again during my campaign, I said I'm going to be the whipping PG.
Another whipping PG?
Another whipping PG, because we had the governor in the then Imo State, the whipping governor, and we saw that he wept and wept in a lot of development in the state. So if whipping will bring in the resources we need, I think I wouldn't hesitate to be a whipping PG. In fact, I said I'm going to be a whipping PG. Not so much so to only Nnibo people, but also to the government of the day in Anambra State. I need to whip for them to know there are basic infrastructures that must be in place. I need to whip for them to know that we've been forgotten for a long time. Then I need to whip to my people to know that there are certain things we must do to ensure that our place is safe, because I want to see everybody come home. I don't want a situation where tomorrow our children will say my parents are Nigerians and my parents are from Nnibo, but I'm from America. I want to see where our children will be proud to come home, if not once in a year, at least once in every 2 years. I come home and know who their nephews, their nieces, their uncles, their cousins are, and appreciate the origin of their parents. So
it appears that recent PGs are distancing themselves from levy. What is wrong about levy?
Yeah, there's a fundamental problem with levy. I call it a fundamental challenge in levy because in the days when we used to collect levy, there are also ways to tackle those who don't pay levy. But in modern Nigeria, the modern Nnibo we have today, where we are completely now an urban town, we're no more the typical Nnibo village as we used to answer before when we would say we are from Nnibo. Today we want our full identity, and the new Nnibo today has a mixed grill of people. We have the Nnibo people, we have visitors who are resident in our town. So how do you actually effect recovery of levies? For example, if those days, if I don't pay my levy, you could come to my house or my parents' house, take a goat away or pound on some cooking pots. But today you can't do that. You might impound somebody else's property, and the person calls it the police. And the first impression is that this is theft, this is robbery. Before you go there to begin to explain that this is what we came for, and the harm is already done.
If you are not, if you are shying away from levy approach of raising money, we overheard you during the convention address say something about data bank.
Yeah.
What do you intend to do with the data bank?
Yeah, the essence of the data bank is to collect the names of people, young men and women from Nnibo who don't have work now. Know what they are, what they are qualified to do, or what their degrees, their qualifications, or without qualifications, what can they do. It becomes a pool. It becomes like a resource, a human resource pool for Nnibo. If tomorrow, for example, Ksji calls in from America and said, PG, I have a friend who is based in Lagos, he needs 2 chemical engineers, he needs 1 physicist, he needs 1 biology graduate. I don't need to begin to search I don't begin to stress myself up. I simply go to the data bank of Nnibo young men and women and call up people that have the qualifications that Charles is asking for. And I said, okay, Charles, I've got 50 people that read these courses you want. What am I going to do? I treat them down to like 10 for you to manage, and then from there, I shoot out these names to whoever Charles would direct me to. But if I don't have a data bank, and Charles gives me a call, a friend of his is in Abuja, he wants somebody who did geography or town planning, and then I begin to initiate a call, begin to initiate mails to people. Do you have so and so graduate? Of course, you know the times are not there forever for you. But if you have a data bank of these persons, once there is an inquiry, you go into the data bank, pick out the appropriate people, shortlist them, and send them for interview.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, you were a new PG, you campaigned and won.
Yeah.
To what extent would you argue or maintain that the election was without question or doubt as to being transparency?
It's okay. I think because I was a contestant, probably I may not be the best judge in this case. But I think from the reports I've read and from what I got from people, I think it was one of the fairest elections that ever been conducted in our town. But one thing I can say with all certainty is that the turnout has never been beaten. You know, I remember particularly a woman that came to my house and said, "Are you innocent, Akuvue?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I've come to thank you because my son, whom I have not seen for 15 years, told me he was coming home to vote for you." So for that woman, the election wasn't just it. The fact that my personality brought back the son after 15 years was all she needed to know, and she was happy about it. What am I trying to say? The election this time was totally different. You know, people came to vote for their choice candidates, and from the records I saw, it is clear that they chose the person they wanted. You know, so there's an overwhelming support for my candidature. I think that again motivates me and makes me work extra hard to justify that confidence.
Who contested this position with you? Could you please remind us once more?
Okay, it was my friend, Professor Tony Wakoye, who is a lecturer, in fact, the Dean of Faculty of Physical Sciences in the University of University.
I'll take you to another road. Who are your parents and what are their backgrounds?
Yeah, my parents, unfortunately, I've lost my father. My father died in 2002, but then all the same, they remain late Bernard and Victoria Akuvue from Umuayima. My father, before the war, had a chains of rice mill in a station called Mada Station in the present Nasarawa State. Then it used to be in the northern region, I think Middle Belt region area. You know, after the war, he was not able to have back his rice mills because of the negative consequences of the war. So my father went into full farming. My father was one person who believed that at any point in time one should be up and about. So he went into full farming. He had very strong yam barn. You know, those days in our town, the bigger your barns are filled up with yams, it shows how strong you are as a farmer. You know, so my father was such a strong farmer, and even cultivated rice also in Ajakile and Apute area. In fact, I joined severally to go and chase birds. I wasn't a very good, strong farmer myself, but I joined up in weeding the grasses and chasing birds out of the farmland.
Not long ago, you just related to us how a young man left wherever he is to come and vote for you.
Yeah.
And the mother was kind of surprised.
That's correct. Yeah.
What's your plan to continue to get young men back to Nnibo to at least spend the Christmas?
Yeah. Okay. I think again it goes back to security, because most of the young men and the women and even the older ones will tell you they have there is a security challenge at Nnibo, and what am I trying to do? I'm trying to give them that confidence that we don't have that now. You know, what we say, and again, the government of the day in Anambra State under His FNSChE, Governor Obiano, he has a zero tolerance for crime, especially for kidnapping and armed robbery. So that again is enough ground. And presently, if you come to Nnibo today, you see that stationed close to the market is what you call a reinforced police presence. You know, that is like a takeoff point. They have a minimum of 7 policemen, well armed, with a very good to go vehicle. It's a takeoff point for areas within the Nnibo. So when there is a crime spot and you give them a call, they are quickly going to be there. So I want to assure the young people that Nnibo is not the same Nnibo they used to be afraid of. And we're trying also to make the town more lively. We intend to go back to those days where we could have a hall. I'm thinking of having an Igbo hall in the civic center where young men and women, and even some of us who are still young at heart, will join up, to relive the Nnibo of our dream and the Nnibo of our past. And I'm sure when we successfully organize one, people will be encouraged and motivated and excited to be home, to be part of that history.
Before we change voice in the question, the last regime used to have a department or portfolio they called the spiritual leader of Nnibo, in the person of Apostle Onyebuchi. Do you plan to continue with that or drop it?
No. We are maintaining the spiritual committee. On the 23rd of this month, in fact, that's part of the challenge I have. As soon as I get to Nigeria, I will relocate to Nnibo for almost like a week to tidy up the meeting coming up on the 23rd. That meeting will include inaugurating all the committees, and one of those committees is spiritual committee, and of course, spiritual committee will be populated with people whom we have identified as people who are spiritually inclined and who also want to make sacrifices and pray for Nnibo as a town.
With us in this studio is also a gentleman, former national president of Nnibo, USA, in the person of Ksji,
Yeah.
Charlie?
His Excellency, the Honorable PG.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for spending time with us. I have a 3-part question, and that would be around AK Market area. What is your plan to bring order to what is happening in AK Market right now, especially during the Christmas time, where the Okada, the trucks, the automobile, the masquerade, and the pedestrian share that's one road that leads all over the place?
Okay. Let me just take that straight away. It's a major concern for all of us. It's a major concern for us as an executive council. My team has been working tirelessly to, first of all, sanitize the AK Market Day itself. Because on a market, AK Market Day, the market women even encroach into the civic center premises quite right close to the door. So that again, we're handling. The works committee headed by one engineer, Deborah Chedu, handling that until we inaugurate the market committee. We have a committee that's market targeted. Until that is done, this committee has been handling that, and they've gone around to further create a divide. You mustn't get to this point on a market day. So we're watching that play out. 2, again, is we're having a total redesign of that market, the market area. We intend to come up with a roundabout proposal to the government where the old road should be tarred and made to be like a one-way, where if you're coming in from Amobia and you pass in there, make a turn. If you're going to return, you take the other way. That is, all these are like temporal measures. But the major thing we're doing is, how do we decongest movement around the AK market? That was what took us around the roads, roads in our town that were open and closed, like the Diffree Road. The Diffree Road will decongest motorists who are going to Mbauku and Umaolo. Take them off AK. Okay? Obo, Umaolo, that axis will be taken off. Okay, there's another road again where we take from Obibia, the Obibia end of Oka end of our own Obibia. Take it through Mwaka, through Lawrence Ogbefi, come out at Oyemwochichi and continue. We took that road and it came out towards somewhere in Ezaolo. If that road is, even if it's not like properly done, but graded, yes, motorable, it takes off again a lot of people, traffic from AK. This, and it will be better for them to cut off those axes and then find themselves going to Nise, Obo, and even people who are returning home to Ezaul area will take up that. So these are long-term planning we have, and we know that with the cooperation we're enjoying presently with the government of the day, it's also good to inform us that on the 100 days of office of the governor, I sponsored a program on the TV and on the radio, where I assured him that Nnibo is now 110% in support of his government. Why do I have to do that? It has become obvious that once you are against the government of the day, you are the one losing. That is the truth. So what do? We need to work hand in glove with the government of the day. So now that the government of the day knows that Nnibo, I still remember that when the governor came, he said, Nnibo Kokoroko, we say Nache Fogo. It's a wake-up call for us. You understand? He was making a wake-up call for us. And that we've understood now. So, and we're seeing the benefits. You can see all that happened in the election. Even at that, we have a commissioner coming from Nnibo. We have a liaison officer for ABC coming from Nnibo. You understand? And then the chairman of Oka Capital Development Territory, even though he's not from Nnibo, but he's a friend of us. Yes. So we intend to tap into this relationship. If you remember when I was reading my address, I said we intend to tap into synergy of ideas, relationships. So these are the areas we hope, while we make other efforts to see that we decongest that AK area. But if you ask me, it is a total disaster. It is a total disaster. Even some of the shops, I just hope we'll have the courage to pull down some of the shops, because we need to do that. But we need to, if we're pulling down the shop, we need to relocate whoever is there, or provides where the person can build up another one. But it is something we have to confront. One of our elders, Emeka Mwaka, he told me that he wished to see a leader that will have the courage to confront the inadequacies of the market. And I do hope God will give us that courage.
When you are talking about confronting the inadequacies of the market, does it include removing the market from there and siting it somewhere that is safer?
In fact, that idea also came from one of our very respected elders, moving the market entirely from there. That chapter is not closed. When I hold meetings with heads of quarters, I intend to throw it open to them. Is there any quarter that can provide adequate land for a market with the necessary parking space? If we have one to do that, we will take that option. Because AK remains the center of Nnibo. It's like saying going downtown. And if that downtown is that clumsy thing, it's not worth it. So if we can actually get a quarter in Nnibo, I will say, look, we have enough land to give to you people on so and so conditions to build a modern market and provide parking space. We will take it up. We'll take it up.
My second question is the last PG that you took off from informed us last year in one of our conventions that the lease of the store, those who build store and take a market, has 20 or 50 years to collect rent, and these stores revert to Nnibo. Do we have a written agreement or anything that we have that, so that at that time we won't have war, whether the war with the children or the...
Yeah.
Do we have anything like that?
Thank you. If I tell you what I want to do now in the market, I don't know whether you say it's unorthodox or it's orthodox, but what I want to do now, because I'm having a lot of challenges with the market, what I want to do is Operation Show Your Documents for the market. You understand? Yes. Because it's a bit difficult. That's the truth. It's a bit difficult because this person will say, I was given by this particular regime. This person will say, I was given by this regime, and everybody seems to have different conditions attached to his own market stuff. So what I want to do is, in fact, when we have the power from the meeting of August, okay, we'll tell anybody what we want to do. Everybody who has an allocation, please stand by your shop with your allocation paper. Let us first of all document them and get them right. Once we have done that, we now begin to look at the conditions they have. Because it's basically like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm told, that's what I'm told. So when we have everybody's documents, both from the regime before the last, will now harmonize it and take a very strong position. You understand? Which will show transparency in the whole thing. In fact, some persons have come to me to say they paid money for shops, they haven't gotten one. You understand? So these are issues that we need to articulate. If you paid money, evidence that you paid money, and why were you not given a shop? We need to verify all that. So I may not be able to make a categorical statement on the shops or the market until after we have done the operation show your documents. I need to be careful with that.
And one more question. We heard that the governor mercifully located a tank in Nnibo to supply water.
Okay.
What's the condition of that water system? Is it working at this time, or what do you, if you have any facts at this time?
I don't think it is working because I hope you're referring to the one that was done by the previous government, not in this one.
No, yeah, the previous government.
Okay. The
big tank.
The big tank at Isaolo.
Yes.
Yeah. If from the information I have right now, it is not in a very good condition. But we want to. We again, these are the things the various committees will take up. Because I found out that the challenge in Nnibo is not what, no matter how good and efficient you are as a PG, you can't do it all. You need people that will give you first-hand information. You need people that will tell you exactly the way it is, So that's that bit of it again. We will find out what the true challenge is, because today you're told that the man who is operating the borehole is late, and if he's late, who is to replace him? And if somebody is to replace him, who pays his salary? These are all the challenges that we have. And these are things we gradually would understand, have a clear-cut experience of what the problems are, solve the problem permanently, and then move on from there. Because if the government said they invested 250 million, you don't just invest 250 million naira and then walk away. You don't just walk away.
Okay. In addition to another panelist we have here is our beloved sister, Wanya Manari, Joy Akuvue, and she's going to add voice to the questions that have been put to you. Joy.
Yeah. Our able PG.
Thank you.
I will begin with saying big thank you, sir, for honoring our invitation. You've been our great motivator in this particular convention. When we saw and heard you about your visions and dreams concerning Nnibo town, it gave us a new hope, because for us here in the United States, Nnibo indigenes, especially for people like me who have been inside, I would say, the real people that have been carrying these people, Nnibo, United States, our dream is the same. All we want, we spend so much money to come every year, not because we have the money, but we want Nnibo as a town to move forward. And hearing you having the same burden in your spirit, in your heart, kind of make us so happy, Now, those dreams, one thing as a person I want to ask is, all these years, we've had so many people with bitterness in their hearts concerning the past executives. And because of that, it's going to affect our tomorrow movement. How do you plan to erase such evil thought or that bitterness? We are all individuals. You have right to have your opinion.
That's correct.
But how do we detox? That's the word I prefer to use. Detox their mind from such bitterness, because it's not going to lead anybody to anything.
Thank you. I must say again that I feel very special again being in this convention. What this convention has done to me is, again, bringing me back to a lot of my friends, relations. I want to be particular about Wanya Manaria. Joy. We call it Joy when in younger days. She is like a younger sister to me. In fact, there was a time we both had our holidays together with one of our uncles at Nnibo. So coming to see her here, a fully grown woman and mother and grandmother, I'm not to understand, I was like, wow. So you can see what the convention does. The convention brings people together, the Nnibo together. So coming to the question you just asked, yes, enduring peace is, I think, it's either the first of my campaign agenda, enduring peace in the Nnibo. One of the things that motivated me to running for the PGship is the fact that I am a home-nurtured boy. I grew back home. Every holidays I was at home, even as an undergraduate, and I'm sure you recall that I once led you, among others, as Nnibo Students Union President. So I have a lot of passion, and I also know that as an individual, as me, as Innocent Akuvue, I do not have any enemy, whether remote or public or whatever. I know I do not have. So I feel that at this particular time, we need a person like me who could talk to anybody, and every door I knock in Nnibo, by the grace of God, opens. And I'm also, my nature is such that I could go the extra mile to ensure there is peace in our town, which I've already started. I talk to people, even those who don't want to listen because of the anger in them. They listen to me, and they said nothing heals wounds like time. Time heals wounds. And some I've spoken to, I'm giving them little time to again reflect on what this whole thing is all about, and then I'm coming back to them. And then the question is, bitterness, does it really help us? No, it doesn't help us. And who are we? We are a bunch of Christians. We are Christians, And what does our Christianity tell us? You can never stop to forgive. You understand that? Unless we don't even pray our Father. If we pray the Lord's Prayer, which is our Father in heaven, we know that once you keep holding back bitterness against someone, you don't even get the forgiveness of God himself. Mm-hmm. So these are the sentiments of what I bring on to people and say, let bygone be bygone. You understand? For everything, there is a reason for it. There are times you have a circumstantial leader. Based on the circumstances the leader has met, his actions are also circumstantial. You understand? So today we have a new Nnibo Union where the leader says, my mission is to pursue peace. Okay. You understand? And I'm pursuing peace. If it means me to kneel down and beg you for peace, I will kneel down to beg you for peace. Because I know that a united town, a peaceful town, is far much better than a divided people. You understand? So just be assured that I am doing the best I can, and by the grace of God, it's working, to bring peace. And I challenged myself. I said, if I do not bring peace in Nnibo after 2 years, I would turn in my letter of resignation.
You were not. We were not accepted.
No, I'm just. This is what I have said. This is the challenge. That is for you to know how serious I take this.
Okay.
I've taken peace in our town so serious that I give myself that challenge. And if I want to serve my people for 4 years, it means I need to go the extra mile to make sure I bring peace in 2 years. Some persons at home have said, you don't even talk about that. But I say I'll keep talking about it because I know that I should be able to bring enduring peace in our town in 2 years. So be rest assured that we are tackling that head on. I'm leaving no stone unturned.
Well,
I have one more.
Yeah, you will come in. I want to get a follow-up to that. What I would say to what you just said is, I believe that God has a purpose for, in time like this, make you the PG of Nnibo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is the purpose you are pursuing, making peace. But along the line, I believe also, besides peace, there are other things God wants you to fulfill. So I would remind you to submit to the way God is leading you, and not the way self wants to do it. So I give you my best prayers as you continue to listen to the Holy Spirit and move on with the calling He has given you. You did not call yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, Chuka came in where I was about heading, but I'll still say what I want to say, because myself personally, I pray a lot for Nnibo.
Okay.
And But my problem, my personal notice from Nnibo people, both home and abroad all over the world, is that like when our past PG, okay, I personally believe it was God that brought that boy to come in. I don't care what anybody is thinking. After I don't know him in person till what year I even met him, but from the beginning I knew it was God. Why do I know that? When you see the steps he was taking. But the problem our people have with him, that's my main question and coming to you, is this. For example, during the election year for the governorship,
Yeah.
I followed the forum. He was screaming, begging
Yeah,
Nnibo
he
people
did.
to vote so person. And we all that follow the forum knew that he is very close to the governor of the.
Yeah, they did.
Even if you don't know much about politics, you know Nigerian politics, the people that are in charge, the seated governor that is heading the election has more power to who is going to come in and whatever.
Yeah.
It's not everything we know. We still have individuals who know inside. And he cried out to Nnibo, but people were fighting him, saying all sorts of rubbish, which misled so many people. We did not vote for that man. And at last, who won? It was the same person. Now, if we don't have a good relationship from now with the, I think Obiano is the new governor,
Yeah.
right? It may affect us because we didn't vote him, and he has every right to go and do any good thing to the towns that voted him in.
Yeah, that's
Now,
right.
my question to you, Mr. President, now is, how do you intend to work with this Obiano guy so that he will not kind of push Nnibo behind because we did not vote for him?
Okay, I think I mentioned that earlier. The governor has given us a wake-up call, and we are responding. I also been
Is
shown
that what you meant by kukuruku?
Yeah, that's what I said. When the governor said Nnibo Kokoroko, and we said Chiefogo, Chiefogo, that means it's a consent. And as this mouthpiece of Nnibo during his first 100 days in the office, I was bold enough to be on air, both on TV and on radio, to say that, Your Excellency, we are 110% in support of your government. That's a public announcement.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
You understand? And coming from a personality of the PG, I think he knew we were serious. You understand? And I'm seeing the reverberation of that coming now. You understand? Because virtually everything that happens, we get to know. You know, and even though I've never said it, I also have a personal relationship with His Excellency. You know, again, which will be explored. You know, so some of us don't like to make too much noise. You know, you do your background planning, and you leave it up. You know, so Nnibo will be a better town, and we're also tactical now. If you can say that one of us is also coming out in the Senate on a different party. Yeah, we're also going to be tactical on how we do the support. You understand? First of all, he's our son. We need to appreciate the fact that he's our son and support him. You know, and if there are people coming from, if another Nnibo, and there's another Nnibo sons again coming out on the House of Representatives side, you know, which I work for precisely. Again, because it's an APGA guy, it's going to be, what we have assured him is, if you can pick up the primaries, leave the rest for us. You understand? You can go campaign elsewhere, but the new Nnibo will throw their weight behind their son. Do you understand? Yeah. The new Nnibo will throw their
I
weight.
have, please, one last question I have. As everybody knows, I'm Ada Nnibo.
Yeah.
Ibele.
Been here,
Not
married to Nnibo man, and let it chill, see flips Akuvue.
Yeah.
And I planned before to come to Nnibo general meeting one day to stand up in the midst of all Nnibo men to ask this question. But since you're here, I'm going to ask that question. It is an evil thing before God and man, the way widows are being treated when when they lose their husband. I was one of the worst. I don't know what the world knows what I went through.
Okay.
I succeeded today because I've been in my God and He carried me through. But I'm not saying because of me anymore, but because of other widows. And we know there is a curse over the land when you mess with a widow or fatherless. So what do you plan concerning that situation to stop that, all in the name of families, umwada, whatever rubbish they used to say? Because we all go to church. We know what Bible says.
Yeah.
But I've not had anything coming in, whether from Nnibo or any indigenous, both the Nnibo Christian Association in that.
Okay, I think let me just put it this way. The biggest challenge we have now is that we haven't had a formal report on
Well,
this
I'm
issue.
reporting it now.
Yeah, so now that you've mentioned it, it's something we're going to address. You understand? Because, you know, it's like a wealthy man in a neighborhood. You don't go ask somebody, do you need money today? Somebody has to come and say, I need some help. So now that you have mentioned it, and coming from somebody of your rating, I very highly respected that Nnibo in America and home.
Because why I said this, my children have vowed not to step their foot.
No, they
Nnibo.
yeah, they
I'm
will.
not
they
kidding,
will.
it's a serious thing. Now, if all my children, I'm not talking about small children, my first child is 30-something years. They are all grown and working. But they vowed they will never step in. Why? Because they were thrown out of their father's house the day they came. And all the evil that was going on, the whole Nnibo men and women were there, including Ezike Nnibo. Nobody came to defend them.
No, it's okay. I don't want you to overstretch it. I've taken note of what you've said, and I will address it to the highest level, just like you said, not just for you, and we're also going to look at issues concerning widowhood and what you know. At times when I look at this in Nollywood films, those film shots in Nigeria, I just ask, do they really happen?
Yeah.
But coming from you, I think it does
does.
happen.
Yeah.
So it's an issue we will take very seriously, especially with me, because I have sympathy for such people. I support a lot of NGOs that handle widows issues back in Port Harcourt where I am. So, and also, many of them have also come around me after I became PG, either helping them to complete school fees and all that. So, I think it has come to a time where, first of all, I will hold a meeting with the Bobodobo leadership and ask them what they have been doing for such members of their own group. You understand? From there, we'll take it. I can tell you that if, by the grace of God, I hope to be in your subsequent conventions. I promise you that I'm going to give an update in the next convention on that issue.
Okay. Thank you very
sir.
much. Finally, when you were just speaking, you mentioned our king, Ezike. In summary, or in a nutshell, don't make it long. What is your present relationship with Ezike?
Beautiful. One word, beautiful.
Okay. In another summary, you just attended and observed the election of Nnibo USA. How did it go?
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you very much. Viewers, the young man, the brand new PG that has been speaking to you for the past 59 minutes is once more Nze, Chief Engineer, Dr. Innocent Akuvue, the President General of Nnibo worldwide. Why have you decided to shy away from that word, worldwide? We are not agreeing with you at all.
Okay, on the final note, like you said, I just believe that there is just one Nnibo. And once you're PG of Inno, automatically, wherever Nnibo persons are and daughters are, you are
worldwide. Come on.
You're worldwide, so we have to use it.